Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Vera TV. I would like to just share a lot of information on this page. This is my space where second chances bloom and new chapters begin. I want to continue talking about the title about starting over because starting over is a never ending thing. It is something that affects us every day. I mean, we get up, that's a new day. But today I want to dive into it a little bit different. I want to talk about second chances, or if you will, starting over. But nobody really talks about the different processes that you go through as you have to start over. I wrote down a few things so I wouldn't forget. Basically, starting over, it breeds a lot of different things. You go through the stages of depression, you go through the stages of just dealing with insomnia. Sometimes you can't sleep, or the effects of the trauma that has built up around having to rebuild your life again. I remember going through the process of not knowing where my next, I won't say meal was coming from, but just where my vision was, because I was so, I don't know if you like me, but I was that person that had to have everything written down and step by step, knowing what's going to happen. I was always a planner, knowing which way I wanted to go, the day I wanted to do it, who I wanted to be a part of my whole my whole journey, right? But when life happens, now you have to pivot your life. And I talk about that all the time because it is something that is very scary for someone who has had the same consistent lifestyle for a long time. If you have been that person where now you find yourself maybe divorced, or it could be you are now separated or relocated, or if you are a widow, you lost the love of your life, where do you go from there? It's not easy, but it's doable. So we first have to face the whole process of embracing what has happened. I heard someone say the other day, it's different when you embrace something as opposed to accepting it. Accepting it is just agreeing with the process. But embracing it means that you are taking full ownership of the things that are new in your life. That's all it means. That's all that it means. And I had to go through that process as well. And so today, okay, so what does it look like? You know that you could be walking around right now just as depressed as you want to be, but yet you are having to go to work, having to pour into your family and put on that smile. Nobody knows how you really feel. And when you get in the car, when you're by yourself, and how it just comes in waves. I can recall, I mean, just recently, having that moment or not wanting to get out of bed and you don't know why you woke up in such a funky mood, right? But you know that that's not you. And especially if you are a bubbly person such as myself, or if you are a person that enjoys being around people, those waves of being single and having to start over, it overtakes you at times. But how do you get out of that funk? How do you get to a place where you feel comfortable? Well, for one, you should always have at least one good friend or a good cousin. For myself, I have a cousin that we are so close, and it's amazing because we are so much alike and didn't even know it. I'm the type of person where it appears that I'm extroverted, but I'm really an introverted person, and I'm really private about certain things. But I feel like the Lord is calling me to share a lot of how did I get over it, right? How did I get over a few humps in my life? Just like most of you, I know that we all have gone through some things. And the process of certain messages sounding redundant, it happens. But I would say to you, everybody's story is different. There are layers in it that may seem similar, but no one has the same thumbprint as you. And such as myself, no one has my thumbprint. Nevertheless, it does not negate the fact that we're all going to go through a process or a time in our lives where we feel completely out of control. Ah! Yes, I said it. Completely out of control. out of control, that everything that is going on in your life at that moment is not in your hands. You are not in control of the outcome. Life, just as we say, be lifing, but at the same time, we have to have a foundation. And my trust in God is so deep and so strong that I know that no matter what happens, I'm still going to come out on the other side. Does it feel good going through the process? Oh, definitely not. But the depression is real. And a lot of times there's always these videos that talk about how to get through stuff, but no one talks about the pit stops that go on before you get to the getting through stop, right? So, depression, how do you deal with it? Maybe turn on some music to get you going. Sometimes I do that. Or turn on a good movie, something that would make you laugh. Or what if you don't have those opportunities? Well, when you're in your car, get talk to a friend or get out of your comfort zone if you are a part of the community. Maybe volunteer somewhere, start doing some things to kind of like shift your mindset, because that's what it is. Your mind has shut down and has come to a realization that, oh my goodness, it's different. I'm not used to going in this direction. Oh, what if you experience some insomnia? Oh, Lord have mercy. Have I experienced that? I've experienced insomnia. Excuse me, honey. My sinuses is like woo wee today. It's early, but the sinuses is trying to kick in. But what about the insomnia? What about those things that you may have to deal with? It's a real thing. And I believe sometimes when we struggle to sleep, that means that we are troubled about a lot of things, and we are in a place, in the space where you have to hunker down and truly trust God for the outcome. Because if you're anything like me, a lot of women, we are multitaskers, and we want to know how things are going to work out. We want to know the process, but yet at the same time, insomnia may overtake you because you're so burdened down with the fact of, oh Lord, what am I going to do? How am I going to get through it? Well, if you trust God, all things are going to work out for your good, according to Romans 8:28. You see, everything that I recognize that comes our way that is negative, that is something that could be traumatizing, we always have to go back to the word of God and have to incorporate that in it, because God said that he would never leave us nor forsake us. And therefore, I have to stand on his word. I have to know that everything in me, with everything in me, that God is still in control. And no matter how I feel internally, because I'm a human being, that is still going to work out. But it does not take away the fact that you may toss and turn. And so how to get through that is to stand on a firm foundation. I don't know what your belief is, but I believe in God, and I truly know that when I do that, when I put my trust there, there is a peace, there's a calmness that comes over me. And the Bible says it's a peace that surpasses all understanding. And so I stand on that, and it gets me through the process. Or what about moving forward after having to rebuild your life, dealing with the effects of the traumas? Let me say this. I'm not going to mention the person's name, but the other day I was watching a show, and this was a very famous person who is in the gospel industry. And they, even though they have money, and even though God blessed them to be able to be seen amongst thousands of people, and now that person is in a different tax bracket, if you will, they are still fighting their demons from the past. And as a person who has started over, and a person who has gone through that process, looking at others, although you may have certain things, material things, it does not take away the traumas that you may have experienced along the journey. Shifting your life or going through a divorce is trauma. It's a death of a thing. I talked about it before. Or being a widow, that's sure enough a hurtful and painful thing if you lost a loved one. Or just the fact if you've never been married before and all of your friends are married, and that means that you're the only one that's kind of standing on the sidelines. But throughout your process of life, I mean, as a child, you could have endured some type of trauma. And what does that look like? Because sometimes people say, oh, everybody's throwing around that word trauma. We've all been traumatized by something. If you gone on a roller coaster ride as a kid and you didn't like it and you was traumatized, you never went on that ride again, right? Or what about if somebody may have done something to you, you are leery of certain places, people, and things. Therefore, it's not a bad word. Sometimes people kind of use that as an scapegoat. I get it, but it does not take away the fact that trauma is real. And going through having to leave one place and go to another, that right there is like it's a scary place. It can bring about anxiety or feeling just totally overwhelmed with everything. And so I just want to say that through that process, we must understand that it's always going to be an opportunity for you to get back into an alignment with the things of God and know that, listen, everything's going to turn out fine for you, but you have to deal with it. How do you deal with it? Once again, rewrite your story, reroute the direction, start looking at things from a positive perspective. Starting over is not a bad thing. Rebuilding your life, reshaping your life, having that opportunity to do it again, right? To do it the way you wanted to do it. I recall for me, when I was married, I didn't like certain things, but I agreed with certain things. Why? Because we were in a commitment, right? We were in that committed relationship. And sometimes you have to do that thing called compromise. So when you're single, you don't have to compromise with anyone. You can make the decisions that you choose to make. And therefore, walk in the things that you desire to walk in, be in positions and places and spaces that makes you feel good. I've started businesses or I've created new friendships along the journey. A lot of my friends from the past, I no longer fellowship with them. Doesn't make them a bad person, but what happened was I moved. So now I am in a different place. And not only that, I recognize that it doesn't stay the same. Life happens to us all and nothing stays the same. So I wanted to just encourage someone that is going through that process and maybe scrolling through, just going through the motions or just getting on Facebook or YouTube and all the different social platforms and trying to find or hear a word that will encourage them. Well, today, if you want to look for an encouraging a word, it's called faith in action. You have to do something different in order to get a different outcome. We can't go back and change what has happened, but we can be right there in the I would say be right there as one of the characters in our new chapter in our books. That's how I look at it. So therefore, I wanted to just to let you know that I understand, that I get it. Although starting over looks glamorous to some, it could be traumatizing to others. But put your faith in action and you will definitely work out fine. Everything will work out in your favor if you would just keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, a new thing is happening and you should embrace it with joy and such, oh my goodness, such a vivid imagination and be adventurous in this season because everyone doesn't get a do over. And for us, those that are going through that process or have already walked through that process, we get a chance to have a do over. And I think that's the look today. That's all I got for you. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to encourage you that, sister girl, you got this. You got it. You got what it takes to keep on moving forward in faith and action. So if you enjoy anything that was shared today, please take that opportunity and hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends.